The Story of the Jews. Chapter 1. The Ancient Roots. The origins of the Jewish people are intricately linked with the early history of the Near East, a region that served as the cradle of civilization. This chapter delves into the formative period of Jewish history, exploring the patriarchal era and the establishment of foundational religious beliefs and practices. The story begins with Abraham, traditionally regarded as the first patriarch of the Jewish people. According to the biblical narrative, Abraham hailed from Ur in Mesopotamia, a region known for its advanced culture and thriving cities. His journey to Canaan, driven by a divine calling, marked the beginning of a covenantal relationship between God and Abraham's descendants. This covenant, which promised Abraham numerous descendants and the land of Canaan, is a cornerstone of Jewish faith and identity. Abraham's son Isaac and grandson Jacob, later named Israel, continued this legacy. Jacob's 12 sons would become the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel, each contributing to the emerging identity of the Jewish people. These early patriarchal stories, rich with themes of faith, struggle, and divine intervention, laid the groundwork for the development of Jewish religious thought. The early Hebrews were a part of the broader Semitic-speaking peoples who inhabited the Near East. They lived alongside and interacted with various cultures, including the Canaanites, Egyptians, and Mesopotamians. These interactions influenced their social structures, religious practices, and linguistic development. Archaeological evidence provides insight into this period, revealing a society that was both agrarian and semi-nomadic. The Hebrews' worship of a singular deity, Yahweh, distinguished them from their polytheistic neighbors. This monotheistic belief system, emphasized through stories of divine promises and miraculous interventions, helped to forge a strong communal identity. The process of forming a distinct Israelite identity was gradual and multifaceted. It was not solely based on religious beliefs, but also on shared experiences, such as migration, conflict, and survival in a challenging environment. The narrative of the Hebrews' enslavement in Egypt and their subsequent exodus, as told in the book of Exodus, is particularly significant in this regard. This story, centered around the figure of Moses, portrays the Israelites' deliverance from bondage through divine intervention. The giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, including the Ten Commandments, provided a comprehensive legal and ethical framework that would guide the Israelites in their covenantal relationship with God. These laws and teachings became the bedrock of Jewish religious and communal life. Understanding the historical context of the ancient Near East is crucial to appreciating the development of early Jewish history. The region was characterized by the rise and fall of powerful empires, such as Egypt, Assyria, and Babylon, which influenced the political and cultural dynamics of the Hebrews. Trade routes, military campaigns, and diplomatic relations shaped the interactions between these empires and the small kingdoms and tribes of the region. The Hebrews, located at a crossroads of civilizations, were inevitably drawn into these broader geopolitical currents. Their ability to maintain a distinct identity amid these influences is a testament to their resilience and adaptability. One of the most significant contributions of the early Hebrews was their development of a monotheistic faith, centered on ethical monotheism. This belief in a single, all-powerful God who demanded moral behavior was revolutionary in a world dominated by polytheistic religions. The early Hebrews also developed unique cultural practices and traditions that set them apart. These included dietary laws, Sabbath observance, and festivals such as Passover, which commemorated their deliverance from Egypt. These practices fostered a sense of unity and continuity, reinforcing their identity across generations. The ancient roots of the Jewish people are deeply embedded in the rich tapestry of Near Eastern history. The patriarchal narratives, the covenantal relationship with God, and the development of a unique religious and cultural identity, the foundation for what would become Judaism. This period of beginnings, marked by both divine promise and human endeavor, set the stage for the subsequent chapters of Jewish history. In the next chapter, we will explore the dramatic events of the Exodus, a defining moment that would shape the Jewish people's identity and destiny for centuries to come. The journey from slavery to freedom, and the enduring lessons it imparts, remain central to the Jewish experience and collective memory. Chapter 2: The Exodus, a Journey to Freedom. The story of the Exodus is one of the most pivotal and enduring narratives in Jewish history. It represents not only a physical journey from slavery to freedom, but also a profound spiritual and moral transformation that has defined the Jewish people for millennia. The book of Exodus opens with the Hebrews living in Egypt, where they initially enjoyed a period of prosperity and growth. However, a new Pharaoh, who did not remember Joseph's contributions, rose to power and viewed the burgeoning Hebrew population as a threat. To control this perceived danger, he subjected them to harsh labor and slavery. The conditions of enslavement were brutal, characterized by back-breaking work and oppressive policies, including the decree to kill all newborn Hebrew males. This period of suffering and degradation left an indelible mark on the collective memory of the Jewish people, underscoring themes of oppression and liberation that would resonate throughout their history. The narrative of the Exodus introduces Moses, one of the most significant figures in Jewish history. Born to Hebrew parents, but raised in Pharaoh's court, Moses led a life of dual identity. After killing an Egyptian overseer who was beating a Hebrew slave, Moses fled to the land of Midian, where he lived as a shepherd. Moses' encounter with the divine at the burning bush marked a turning point in his life and in the destiny of the Hebrews. God revealed himself to Moses and commanded him to return to Egypt to lead the Hebrews out of bondage. Despite his initial reluctance and feelings of inadequacy, Moses accepted this daunting mission. Armed with divine assurances and miraculous signs, Moses' return to Egypt set the stage for a dramatic confrontation with Pharaoh, who stubbornly refused to release the Hebrews. In response, God unleashed a series of 10 plagues upon Egypt, each escalating in severity. These plagues, ranging from turning the Nile into blood to the death of the firstborn, were not only punitive measures, but also demonstrations of God's power over the Egyptian deities and natural forces. The 10th and final plague, the death of the firstborn, was the most devastating. It led to Pharaoh's capitulation and the urgent departure of the Hebrews. The ritual of Passover, instituted on the eve of this final plague, commemorated this event and became a central observance in Jewish religious life. The unleavened bread matzah and the lamb's blood on the doorposts symbolized both haste and divine protection. The departure from Egypt, known as the Exodus, was a monumental event. The Hebrews, numbering in the hundreds of thousands, left in haste, carrying with them the wealth of Egypt and the bones of Joseph. Their journey was fraught with challenges, including the pursuit by Pharaoh's army, which culminated in the miraculous crossing of the Red Sea. According to the biblical account, God parted the waters, allowing the Hebrews to pass through safely, while the pursuing Egyptian forces were drowned. This traumatic escape reinforced the Hebrews' faith in God's deliverance and power. The Song of the Sea, sung by Moses and the Israelites, celebrated this victory and became one of the oldest and most revered hymns in Jewish liturgy. The journey to freedom was not just a physical relocation, but also a profound spiritual journey. At Mount Sinai, the Hebrews received the Torah, God's laws and commandments, which would govern their lives and relationship with Him. The giving of the 10 Commandments was a foundational moment, establishing a covenantal bond between God and His people. This covenant was both a privilege and a responsibility. It called for the Hebrews to live as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, upholding ethical and moral standards that would set them apart from other nations. The laws encompassed every aspect of life, from religious observance and social justice to dietary practices and family relationships. The journey through the wilderness was a period of testing and transformation. The Hebrews faced numerous challenges, including scarcity of food and water, internal dissent, and external threats. These trials were seen as tests of faith and opportunities for growth. The manna, quail, and water from the rock were miraculous provisions that demonstrated God's continual care. Despite these miracles, the journey was marked by episodes of rebellion and doubt. The incident of the golden calf, where the people fashioned and worshipped an idol in Moses' absence, highlighted the tension between faithfulness and idolatry. Moses' intercession and the subsequent renewal of the covenant underscored the themes of repentance and divine mercy. The Exodus story is not merely a historical account, but a foundational myth that has shaped Jewish identity and theology. It emphasizes themes of liberation, divine justice, and covenantal responsibility. The annual celebration of Passover serves as a perpetual reminder of this formative event, reinforcing communal bonds and religious commitment. Moreover, the Exodus has served as an enduring symbol of hope and inspiration for oppressed peoples throughout history. Its message of freedom and redemption resonates beyond the Jewish experience, offering a universal call for justice and human dignity. The Exodus is a defining narrative that encapsulates the journey from slavery to freedom, both physically and spiritually. It marks the beginning of the Jewish people's transformation into a nation bound by a unique covenant with God. This journey, filled with miracles, challenges, and revelations, continues to inspire and instruct. In the next chapter, we will explore the rise and fall of the Israelite kingdoms, examining the complexities of leadership, the role of prophets, and the enduring quest for a just and righteous society. Through the triumphs and tribulations of this era, the Jewish people continued to evolve, forging a legacy that would endure through the ages. Chapter 3: Kingdoms and Prophets, the Rise and Fall. The period of the Israelite kingdoms marks a significant chapter in Jewish history, characterized by the establishment of a unified nation, the rise of powerful monarchies, and the critical role of prophets who shaped the spiritual and ethical direction of the people. This chapter delves into the complexities of leadership, the challenges of maintaining faithfulness, and the eventual downfall of the kingdoms. The desire for a centralized leadership led the Israelites to transition from a loose confederation of tribes to a united monarchy. Saul, the first king, was chosen for his military prowess and charisma. However, his reign was troubled by internal conflicts and disobedience to divine commands, leading to his downfall. David, Saul's successor, is often regarded as the ideal king in Jewish tradition. He united the tribes, established Jerusalem as the political and spiritual capital, and expanded the kingdom's borders. David's reign, though marked by significant achievements, was also plagued by personal failings and family strife. His deep relationship with God, expressed through the Psalms, left an enduring spiritual legacy. Solomon, David's son, is famed for his wisdom, wealth, and monumental building projects, including the first temple in Jerusalem. This temple became the central place of worship and a symbol of God's presence among his people. However, Solomon's later years were marred by political alliances through marriages and the introduction of foreign deities, which sowed the seeds of division. Following Solomon's death, the kingdom split into two: the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. This division led to political instability and spiritual decline, as both kingdoms struggled with internal strife and external threats. The northern kingdom, Israel, experienced a series of coups and changes in leadership, which weakened its stability. The worship of golden calves in Bethel and Dan, established by Jeroboam to prevent pilgrimages to Jerusalem, epitomized the religious deviations that plagued Israel. Judah, though more stable due to the Davidic dynasty, also faced challenges. Kings like Hezekiah and Josiah attempted religious reforms to restore covenantal faithfulness, but their efforts were often undermined by subsequent rulers who reverted to idolatry. During this tumultuous period, prophets emerged as critical voices, calling the people back to their covenantal obligations. Prophets like Elijah, Elisha, Amos, Hosea, Isaiah, and Jeremiah played pivotal roles in addressing both kingdoms' moral and spiritual failings. Elijah and Elisha confronted the idolatry and corruption of the northern kingdom, performing miracles that demonstrated God's power and calling the people to repentance. Amos and Hosea, also from the north, emphasized social justice and faithfulness to God, condemning the hypocrisy and exploitation prevalent in society. In Judah, Isaiah and Jeremiah addressed the southern kingdom's spiritual and political crises. Isaiah's prophecies offered both warnings of impending judgment and visions of future redemption. Jeremiah, witnessing the fall of Jerusalem, lamented the destruction, but also spoke of a new covenant and hope for restoration. The divided kingdom's persistent failure to uphold the covenant and their political vulnerabilities led to their downfall. The northern kingdom, Israel, fell to the Assyrians in 722 BCE, resulting in the exile and dispersion of the 10 tribes, often referred to as the lost tribes of Israel. Judah managed to survive longer, but the rise of the Babylonian Empire posed an insurmountable threat. In 586 BCE, Jerusalem was besieged, the temple was destroyed, and the people were exiled to Babylon. This catastrophic event marked a profound turning point in Jewish history, leading to a period of intense reflection and transformation. The era of the Israelite kingdoms, marked by the heights of political and spiritual achievements and the depths of division and exile, profoundly shaped Jewish history and identity. The legacies of the kings and prophets, the construction and destruction of the temple, and the lessons of faith and failure continue to resonate. In the next chapter, we will explore the Babylonian exile, a time of deep sorrow, but also of significant theological and communal development. The resilience and adaptability of the Jewish people during this period laid the groundwork for their future return and rebuilding efforts. Chapter 4: Babylonian Exile, a time of reflection. The Babylonian exile represents a period of profound crisis and transformation in Jewish history. The destruction of the first temple and the subsequent exile to Babylon forced the Jewish people to confront their identity, faith, and future in the absence of their homeland and central place of worship. The fall of Jerusalem in 586 BCE was a cataclysmic event for the Jewish people. The Babylonians, led by King Nebuchadnezzar, besieged the city, destroyed the temple, and carried off a significant portion of the population to Babylon. This event not only marked the end of the Davidic monarchy, but also challenged the theological foundations of Jewish belief, raising questions about God's promises and the future of His people. In Babylon, the exiled Jews faced the daunting task of maintaining their identity and faith in a foreign land. Despite the trauma of displacement, they managed to establish communities, engage in commerce, and even attain positions of influence, as evidenced by figures like Daniel and his companions. The exile necessitated new forms of religious expression and community organization. Without the temple, the focus shifted to prayer, study, and the observance of the Sabbath and dietary laws. Synagogues emerged as centers for communal worship and learning, laying the foundation for rabbinic Judaism. The experience of exile prompted profound theological reflection and reinterpretation. Prophets like Ezekiel and 2nd Isaiah offered messages of hope and restoration, envisioning a future return to the land and a renewed relationship with God. Ezekiel's visions, such as the Valley of Dry Bones, symbolized the revival of the Jewish people, while his detailed description of a new temple provided a blueprint for future restoration. 2nd Isaiah's servant songs introduced themes of suffering and redemption, emphasizing God's enduring faithfulness and the promise of a new covenant. The Book of Lamentations, attributed to the prophet Jeremiah, poignantly expressed the grief and desolation of the exiled community, yet it also contained seeds of hope and a call to repentance. The Jewish people's ability to adapt and maintain their identity during the Babylonian exile is a testament to their resilience. They preserved their traditions, compiled sacred texts, and developed new religious practices that sustained them in the absence of the temple. This period also saw the consolidation of the Torah and other scriptural writings, which became central to Jewish religious life. The emphasis on study and interpretation of these texts reinforced a sense of continuity and community. The fall of the Babylonian Empire to the Persians in 539 BCE marked a new chapter for the exiled Jews. King Cyrus of Persia issued a decree allowing them to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple. This return, led by figures like Zerubbabel, Ezra, and Nehemiah, was both a physical and spiritual renewal. The rebuilding of the Second Temple, though modest compared to Solomon's temple, symbolized the restoration of the Jewish community and their covenantal relationship with God. The efforts to re-establish Jerusalem and its walls, spearheaded by Nehemiah, emphasized the importance of security, community, and religious reform. Ezra, a scribe and priest, played a crucial role in re-establishing the Torah as the foundation of Jewish life, leading public readings and teaching that reinvigorated the people's commitment to their faith and laws. The Babylonian exile was a period of profound crisis, but also of significant transformation and renewal for the Jewish people. It tested their faith, challenged their identity, and ultimately led to a deeper understanding of their covenant with God. The lessons learned and the adaptations made during this time do groundwork for the future resilience and continuity of the Jewish people. In the next chapter, we will explore the Second Temple era, a time of rebuilding and redefinition, marked by internal and external challenges, as well as the continuing development of Jewish religious and cultural life. Chapter 5: Return and Rebuilding, the Second Temple Era. The return from Babylonian exile and the rebuilding of the Second Temple marked a period of renewal and redefinition for the Jewish people. This chapter examines the challenges and achievements of the Second Temple era, highlighting the efforts to restore religious and communal life, the influence of foreign powers, and the ongoing development of Jewish identity and practice. In 539 BCE, the Persian king Cyrus conquered Babylon and issued a decree allowing the exiled Jews to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This decree, seen as a divine intervention, was met with joy and hope, but the journey back and the reconstruction efforts were fraught with challenges. The initial return was led by Zerubbabel, a descendant of David, and Joshua, the high priest. They laid the foundation for the Second Temple amid opposition from surrounding peoples and internal discouragement. Prophets like Haggai and Zechariah provided crucial support, encouraging the people to persevere and assuring them of God's presence and favor. The rebuilding of the Second Temple was a significant achievement, though it faced numerous obstacles. The new temple, completed around 515 BCE, was more modest than Solomon's temple, but it became the central place of worship and a symbol of renewed covenantal faith. The dedication of the temple was a moment of great significance, marked by sacrifices and celebrations. The temple rituals and priesthood were restored, reinforcing the religious and communal identity of the Jewish people. Ezra and Nehemiah played pivotal roles in the spiritual and social renewal of the Jewish community. Ezra, a scribe and priest, arrived in Jerusalem around 458 BCE and focused on re-establishing the authority of the Torah. His public readings and interpretations of the Torah reinvigorated the people's commitment to their laws and traditions. Nehemiah, arriving around 445 BCE, took on the task of rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, providing security and fostering a sense of communal pride. His leadership extended beyond physical reconstruction. He implemented social and economic reforms, addressed injustices, and worked to unify the community. The Second Temple era was marked by significant challenges, including internal divisions, external threats, and cultural influences from surrounding empires. The Jewish community faced opposition from neighboring peoples who resented their return and rebuilding efforts. The influence of Persian culture and administration also required adaptation. While the Jews maintained their distinct religious practices, they had to navigate the complexities of life under Persian rule, balancing loyalty to the empire with their covenantal obligations. This period saw important developments in Jewish religious thought and practice. The compilation and canonization of sacred texts continued, solidifying the Hebrew Bible as the foundation of Jewish religious life. The emphasis on the Torah and its interpretation by scribes and scholars laid the groundwork for the later emergence of Rabbinic Judaism. The establishment of synagogues as centers for prayer, study, and community life became increasingly important, especially for those living outside Jerusalem. These institutions helped sustain Jewish identity and practice in the diaspora. Festivals like Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot were celebrated with renewed vigor, reinforcing communal bonds and religious observance. The observance of Purim, based on the events described in the Book of Esther, was introduced, adding to the rich tapestry of Jewish festivals. The conquest of the Persian Empire by Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE introduced Hellenistic culture to the Jewish world. This period of Greek influence brought both opportunities and challenges, leading to cultural exchanges and tensions. While some Jews embraced Hellenistic culture, others resisted, striving to maintain their distinct identity and traditions. This cultural clash is exemplified in the later Maccabean revolt, a response to the enforced Hellenization and desecration of the temple by the Seleucid king Antiochus IV Epiphanes. The Second Temple era was a time of reconstruction, adaptation, and resilience for the Jewish people. Despite the challenges of rebuilding and external influence, they succeeded in re-establishing their religious and communal life. The achievements and developments of this period laid the foundation for the enduring legacy of Jewish faith and identity. In the next chapter, we will explore the Hellenistic influence on Jewish life, examining the cultural interactions, conflicts, and the eventual revolt that led to a brief period of Jewish independence. This era of transformation and resistance further shaped the course of Jewish history. Chapter 6: Hellenistic Influence, a Clash of Cultures. The Hellenistic period was a time of significant cultural interaction and conflict for the Jewish people. Following the conquests of Alexander the Great, Jewish society faced the challenges of integrating Hellenistic culture while maintaining its distinct religious identity. This chapter explores the complexities of this era, highlighting the encounters, adaptations, and resistances that defined Jewish life under Hellenistic influence. Alexander the Great's conquest of the Persian Empire in the 4th century BCE brought the vast territories of the Near East, including Judea, under Greek cultural and political influence. Hellenism, characterized by its language, art, philosophy, and governance, permeated the regions Alexander conquered, creating a cosmopolitan and interconnected world. For the Jewish people, this period introduced new ideas, practices, and opportunities for engagement with broader cultural currents. The city of Alexandria in Egypt, founded by Alexander, became a major center of Jewish life and Hellenistic culture, exemplifying the blending and tension between these two worlds. Following Alexander's death, his empire was divided among his generals, leading to the establishment of the Ptolemaic and Seleucid dynasties, which ruled over Judea at different times. The Ptolemies, based in Egypt, initially controlled Judea, and their rule was relatively benign, allowing for a degree of religious and cultural autonomy. Under the Seleucids, based in Syria, the situation became more complex. The policies of some Seleucid rulers, particularly Antiochus IV Epiphanes, aimed at enforcing Hellenistic culture more aggressively, leading to significant tension and conflict with traditional Jewish practices. Hellenistic culture had a profound impact on various aspects of Jewish life. The Greek language became widely used, especially among the urban elite, leading to the translation of the Hebrew Bible into Greek, the Septuagint, which made Jewish scriptures accessible to a broader audience. Jewish architecture, art, and education were influenced by Hellenistic styles. Gymnasiums and theatres, symbols of Greek culture, appeared in Judean cities, reflecting the integration of Greek and Jewish elements in daily life. Philosophically, some Jews engaged with Greek thought, as seen in the works of Philo of Alexandria, who sought to harmonize Jewish theology with Greek philosophy. This intellectual exchange enriched Jewish thought, but also sparked debates about identity and tradition. The most dramatic response to Hellenistic influence was the Maccabean Revolt, a rebellion against the Seleucid king Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Antiochus' policies, including the desecration of the Jerusalem temple and the banning of Jewish religious practices, provoked a fierce reaction. The revolt, led by the priest Mattathias and his sons, particularly Judah Maccabee, began in 167 BCE and resulted in the rededication of the temple, 164 BCE, an event commemorated by the festival of Hanukkah. The success of the Maccabees established the Hasmonean dynasty, a period of Jewish independence and self-rule that lasted about a century. The Hasmonean dynasty, founded by the Maccabees, represented a period of both political independence and internal strife. The Hasmonean rulers expanded their territory and asserted their authority, but also faced challenges in balancing Hellenistic influences with traditional Jewish values. The dynasty's internal conflicts, including power struggles and alignments with Hellenistic practices, highlighted the ongoing tension between cultural adaptation and religious fidelity. Despite these challenges, the Hasmonean period was a time of significant achievement, including the consolidation of Jewish religious and political life. The Hellenistic period was a complex era of cultural interaction and conflict for the Jewish people. The encounter with Greek culture brought both opportunities for enrichment and challenges to traditional identity. The responses ranged from adaptation and integration to resistance and rebellion, reflecting the dynamic and multifaceted nature of Jewish life during this time. In the next chapter, we will explore the Roman conquest and its profound impact on Jewish history, including the rise of new religious movements and the eventual destruction of the Second Temple. The Roman era set the stage for significant transformations in Jewish society and the broader Mediterranean world. Chapter 7: Roman Rule, Occupation and Rebellion. The Roman conquest of Judea marked a significant turning point in Jewish history, ushering in a period of occupation, upheaval, and profound transformation. This chapter explores the complexities of Roman rule, the rise of new religious movements, and the series of rebellions that culminated in the destruction of the Second Temple. Rome's involvement in Judea began in 63 BCE, when the Roman general Pompey intervened in a dispute between rival factions of the Hasmonean dynasty. His conquest of Jerusalem marked the beginning of Roman dominance over the region. Judea was initially a client kingdom, but eventually became a Roman province, subject to direct imperial control. The Roman administration, while providing stability and infrastructure, imposed heavy taxes and exerted political and military control. The presence of Roman governors, such as Pontius Pilate, and the influence of Herodian rulers created tensions within Jewish society, exacerbating existing divisions and discontent. Herod the Great, appointed king of Judea by the Romans in 37 BCE, played a crucial role in shaping the region during this period. Known for his ambitious building projects, Herod reconstructed the Second Temple, transforming it into a magnificent complex that became the focal point of Jewish worship. Despite his contributions to architecture and infrastructure, Herod's reign was marked by brutality and paranoia. His efforts to consolidate power, including the execution of family members and rivals, fostered resentment among his subjects. Herod's legacy was a complex blend of architectural achievement and oppressive rule, setting the stage for future unrest. Under Roman rule, Jewish society saw the rise of various religious and political sects, each with its interpretation of Jewish law and response to Roman occupation. The most prominent groups included the Pharisees, Sadducees, Essenes, and Zealots. The Pharisees, known for their emphasis on oral law and tradition, advocated for a form of Judaism that could adapt to changing circumstances. They were influential among the common people and played a key role in the development of Rabbinic Judaism. The Sadducees, associated with the priestly and aristocratic classes, controlled the temple and its rituals. They were more accommodating to Roman authority, focusing on maintaining their power and the sacrificial system. The Essenes, a monastic and ascetic group, withdrew from mainstream society, seeking purity and awaiting divine intervention. Their community at Qumran, near the Dead Sea, produced the Dead Sea Scrolls, which provide valuable insights into Jewish thought and practice during this period. The Zealots, a militant faction, advocated for a violent resistance against Roman rule. Their radicalism and willingness to use force made them central figures in the Jewish revolts against Rome. During the 1st century CE, the ministry of Jesus of Nazareth emerged within this complex and volatile environment. Jesus, a Jewish teacher and healer, attracted a following with his message of repentance, the imminent kingdom of God, and radical love and forgiveness. His teachings and actions, including his critique of the temple authorities and his claim to divine authority, brought him into conflict with both the Jewish leadership and the Roman authorities. Jesus' crucifixion, ordered by Pontius Pilate, was a pivotal event that led to the rise of Christianity, a new religious movement that would profoundly influence Jewish and world history. The growing tensions between Jews and Romans culminated in the First Jewish-Roman War, 6673 CE. Sparked by religious and economic grievances, the rebellion began in Jerusalem and quickly spread throughout Judea. The Zealots and other militant groups played a central role in the uprising, initially achieving significant victories. However, the Roman response, led by General Vespasian and later his son Titus, was overwhelming. The siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE resulted in the destruction of the Second Temple, a devastating blow to Jewish religious life. The fall of Masada in 73 CE marked the end of organized resistance. The war resulted in immense loss of life, destruction of property, and the dispersal of Jews from Judea, contributing to the Jewish diaspora. The destruction of the Second Temple was a cataclysmic event that reshaped Jewish identity and practice. The loss of the temple as the center of worship and sacrifice necessitated a profound transformation in religious life. Rabbinic Judaism, which emphasized study, prayer, and adherence to the Torah, emerged as the dominant form of Jewish practice. The Pharisees' focus on the oral law and the synagogue as the center of community life became critical in preserving Jewish traditions. This period saw the compilation of key texts, including the Mishnah, which codified Jewish legal and ethical teachings. The Bar Kokhba Revolt, 132-135 CE, was the second major Jewish rebellion against Roman rule. Led by Simon Bar Kokhba, who was hailed as the Messiah by some Jewish leaders, the revolt initially achieved considerable success, establishing an independent Jewish state. However, the Roman response, under Emperor Hadrian, was devastating. The revolt was crushed with great brutality, resulting in massive casualties and further dispersal of the Jewish population. Hadrian's policies, including the banning of circumcision and the establishment of a pagan city, Aelia Capitolina, on the ruins of Jerusalem, aimed to erase Jewish identity and culture. The Roman period was one of occupation, conflict, and profound transformation for the Jewish people. The encounters with Roman power, the rise of new religious movements, and the catastrophic revolts profoundly shaped Jewish history and identity. In the next chapter, we will explore the development of Rabbinic Judaism, the resilience of the Jewish diaspora, and the continuing quest for identity and community in the centuries following the Roman conquests. This period of adaptation and continuity laid the groundwork for the enduring legacy of Jewish faith and practice. Chapter 8. Rabbinic Judaism, Resilience and Adaptation. The destruction of the Second Temple and the dispersal of Jews from Judea marked the beginning of a new era in Jewish history. Rabbinic Judaism, which emerged from this period of crisis, provided a framework for preserving Jewish identity, practice, and scholarship in the absence of a central temple. This chapter explores the development of Rabbinic Judaism, its foundational texts, and the resilience of Jewish communities in the diaspora. The fall of the Second Temple 70 CE necessitated a profound transformation in Jewish religious life. The destruction of the central place of worship and sacrifice required a new focus on other forms of religious expression. Rabbinic Judaism, with its emphasis on Torah study, prayer, and ethical conduct, emerged as the dominant form of Jewish practice. Key to this transformation was the role of the rabbis, who became the spiritual and intellectual leaders of the Jewish community. They developed a comprehensive system of law and interpretation, known as halakha, which governed every aspect of Jewish life. The synagogue replaced the temple at the center of worship and community life, emphasizing prayer, study, and communal gatherings. A crucial development in the establishment of Rabbinic Judaism was the compilation of the Mishnah, a codification of oral traditions and legal teachings. Compiled by Rabbi Judah the Prince around 200 CE, the Mishnah provided a structured and authoritative text that could be studied, debated, and applied by Jewish communities. The Mishnah's organization into 6 orders, covering areas such as agriculture, festivals, family law, civil and criminal law, and ritual purity, reflected the comprehensive nature of Jewish law. It served as the foundation for subsequent rabbinic literature and the basis for communal life and practice. The Mishnah, together with the Gemara, which comprises rabbinic commentary and analysis, forms the Talmud. There are 2 versions of the Talmud. The Jerusalem Talmud, completed around 400 CE, and the Babylonian Talmud, completed around 500 CE. The latter became the more authoritative and widely studied text. The Talmud represents the culmination of centuries of rabbinic discussion and debate. It addresses a wide range of topics, from legal principles and ethical teachings to folklore and theology. The dialectical method of Talmudic study, with its focus on argumentation and interpretation, became central to Jewish intellectual life. Following the destruction of the Second Temple and the subsequent revolts, Jewish communities spread throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. The diaspora experience varied widely, with some communities enjoying relative autonomy and prosperity, while others faced persecution and marginalization. Despite these challenges, Jewish communities maintain their distinct identity and religious practices. The synagogue and the study house Beit Midrash became the focal points of communal life, providing spaces for worship, education, and social interaction. Jewish merchants, scholars, and artisans contributed to the cultural and economic life of their host societies, while preserving their own traditions and networks. The adaptability and resilience of Jewish communities in the diaspora were key to their survival and continuity. They developed a range of institutions and practices that supported communal cohesion and religious observance. The role of the rabbi as a teacher, legal authority, and community leader was central to this process. Jewish communities also established charitable organizations, schools, and courts, which reinforced their autonomy and solidarity. Festivals and life cycle events provided opportunities for communal gathering and the transmission of traditions. Jewish life in the diaspora was influenced by the surrounding cultures and societies. In the Greco-Roman world, Jewish thought and practice interacted with Hellenistic philosophy and culture. In Babylonia, Jewish scholars engaged with Persian and Mesopotamian traditions. Later, in the medieval Islamic world, Jewish intellectuals participated in the vibrant cultural and scientific exchanges of the time. These interactions enriched Jewish thought and practice, leading to developments in areas such as philosophy, science, and literature. Figures like Philo of Alexandria, Saadia Gaon, and Maimonides exemplified the synthesis of Jewish and external wisdom, contributing to the dynamism and diversity of Jewish intellectual life. The synagogue played a central role in maintaining Jewish religious and communal life. As a place of worship, study, and assembly, it provided a focal point for Jewish identity and practice. The structure of synagogue services, with their emphasis on prayer, Torah reading, and communal participation, reinforced a sense of shared purpose and belonging. The synagogue also served as a space for education, with children and adults studying Torah and Jewish texts. This emphasis on learning and literacy ensured the transmission of religious knowledge and values across generations. The period following the destruction of the Second Temple was one of profound transformation and adaptation for the Jewish people. Rabbinic Judaism, with its emphasis on study, prayer, and ethical living, provided a framework for maintaining Jewish identity and continuity in the diaspora. In the next chapter, we will explore the medieval period, examining the challenges and achievements of Jewish communities in Europe and the Islamic world. This era of cultural interaction, intellectual flourishing, and occasional persecution further shaped the course of Jewish history and identity. Chapter 9: Medieval Jewry, Flourishing and Persecution. The medieval period was a time of both remarkable cultural flourishing and intense persecution for Jewish communities. This chapter explores the experiences of Jews in Europe and the Islamic world, highlighting their contributions to intellectual and economic life, the challenges they faced, and the resilience they demonstrated in maintaining their identity and traditions. During the early medieval period, many Jews lived under Islamic rule, particularly following the Arab conquests of the 7th and 8th centuries. This period, known as the Golden Age of Jewish culture in the Islamic world, was marked by significant intellectual and cultural achievements. Jewish communities in cities like Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba thrived under relatively tolerant Islamic rule. They enjoyed a degree of autonomy, with their own courts and communal organizations, and were often engaged in trade, finance, and scholarship. The medieval Islamic world was a hub of intellectual activity, and Jewish scholars made significant contributions in various fields, including philosophy, medicine, science, and poetry. Figures such as Saadia Gaon, Solomon ibn Gabriel, and Judah Halevi were prominent in their respective disciplines, blending Jewish thought with the broader currents of Islamic and classical philosophy. Saadia Gaon, a leading Jewish philosopher and exegete, is known for his works on Jewish law, theology, and grammar. His translation of the Hebrew Bible into Arabic and his philosophical treatise, the Book of Beliefs and Opinions, were foundational texts for medieval Jewish thought. Solomon ibn Gabriel, a poet and philosopher, made important contributions to both Jewish and Islamic philosophy. His work Fons Vitae, The Source of Life, written in Arabic, explored Neoplatonic themes and influenced later Jewish and Christian thinkers. Judah Halevi, a poet and philosopher, is best known for his poetic works and his philosophical dialogue The Kuzari, which defends Judaism in the face of other religious and philosophical systems. Halevi's poetry, particularly his longing for Zion, has had a lasting impact on Jewish literature and identity. In Christian Europe, the experiences of Jewish communities were more varied and often more challenging. While there were periods of relative peace and prosperity, Jews frequently faced persecution, expulsions, and violent attacks, particularly during times of social and economic upheaval. In medieval Europe, Jews were often confined to specific occupations, such as money-lending and trade, due to restrictions on land ownership and guild membership. These roles, while economically important, also made Jews targets of resentment and scapegoating during periods of economic distress. The Crusades, beginning in the late 11th century, had a devastating impact on Jewish communities in Europe. As crusaders traveled to the Holy Land, they often attacked Jewish communities along the way, leading to massacres and forced conversions. The First Crusade, 1096 to 1099, was particularly brutal, with widespread violence against Jews in cities like Worms, Mainz, and Cologne. The trauma of the Crusades reinforced the precariousness of Jewish life in Christian Europe and led to increased efforts to strengthen communal defenses and internal cohesion. Jewish communities developed mechanisms for mutual support and charity, including the establishment of local and regional councils to address communal needs and mediate disputes. Despite the challenges, the medieval period also saw significant intellectual and cultural achievements among European Jews. The Jewish communities of Spain, France, and Germany were centers of scholarship, producing important works in religious law, philosophy, and mysticism. In Spain, under both Muslim and later Christian rule, Jewish scholars like Maimonides, Rambam, and Abraham ibn Ezra made enduring contributions to Jewish thought and science. Maimonides' works, including the Mishneh Torah and Guide for the Perplexed, synthesized Jewish law and Aristotelian philosophy, leaving a lasting legacy on Jewish and Western thought. The Jewish communities in the Rhineland and France, known as Ashkenazi Jews, also produced significant religious scholarship. The Tosafists, medieval commentators on the Talmud, expanded on earlier interpretations, while figures like Rashi by Shlomo Yitzhaki provided comprehensive commentaries on the Torah and Talmud that remain central to Jewish study. The medieval period also saw the rise of Jewish mysticism, particularly the Kabbalah. The Kabbalistic tradition, with its esoteric teachings on the nature of God, the creation of the world, and the role of humanity, offered a profound spiritual framework that attracted many adherents. The Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, emerged in the late 13th century in Spain. Attributed to the 2nd century sage by Shimon Bar Yochai, the Zohar's mystical teachings influenced Jewish thought and practice, emphasizing the inner dimensions of the Torah and the importance of spiritual elevation. Throughout the medieval period, Jews faced periodic persecutions and expulsions from various European territories. The most significant expulsions occurred in England, 1290, France 1306 and 1394, and Spain 1492. These expulsions, driven by economic, religious, and political motives, forced Jewish communities to relocate and adapt to new environments. The expulsion from Spain in 1492, following the Christian Reconquista, was particularly impactful. The decree issued by Ferdinand and Isabella forced Jews to convert to Christianity or leave the country. Many Jews chose exile, finding refuge in the Ottoman Empire, North Africa, and other parts of Europe. This diaspora spread Sephardic Jewish culture and traditions across new regions. The medieval period was one of both flourishing and persecution for Jewish communities. Despite facing significant challenges, Jews made enduring contributions to intellectual, cultural, and religious life in both the Islamic world and Christian Europe. Their resilience and adaptability ensured the continuity of Jewish identity and practice in the face of adversity. In the next chapter, we will explore the early modern period, examining the impact of the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the Enlightenment on Jewish life. This era of transformation and change brought new opportunities and challenges, shaping the modern Jewish experience and identity. Chapter 10: The Early Modern Period, Renaissance to Enlightenment. The early modern period, spanning from the late 15th to the 18th century, was a time of significant transformation and change for Jewish communities. This chapter examines the impact of the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the Enlightenment on Jewish life, highlighting the opportunities and challenges that shaped the modern Jewish experience and identity. The Renaissance, beginning in Italy in the late 14th century, was a period of cultural and intellectual revival that had a profound impact on European society. Jewish communities, particularly in Italy and the Ottoman Empire were influenced by the humanistic ideals and the renewed interest in classical knowledge. Jewish scholars engaged with Renaissance humanism, contributing to the fields of medicine, philosophy, and science. The printing press, invented in the mid-15th century, revolutionized the dissemination of knowledge, making Jewish texts more accessible and facilitating intellectual exchange. The Protestant Reformation, initiated by Martin Luther in the early 16th century, brought significant religious upheaval to Europe. While initially some reformers sought to engage with Jews and their teachings, the Reformation ultimately led to increased tension and persecution in many regions. Martin Luther's later writings, marked by vehement anti-Jewish sentiments, contributed to the spread of anti-Semitic attitudes in Protestant territories. However, the Reformation also led to the fragmentation of the Catholic Church's authority, creating new political and social dynamics that sometimes benefited Jewish communities. The expulsion of Jews from Spain in 1492 and Portugal in 1497 led to the dispersion of Sephardic Jews across the Mediterranean, the Ottoman Empire, and Western Europe. This Sephardic diaspora brought about the spread of Spanish Jewish culture, traditions, and intellectual achievements. Sephardic Jews played a significant role in the economic and cultural life of their new host societies. In the Ottoman Empire, cities like Salonika and Istanbul became centers of Sephardic Jewish life. In Western Europe, Sephardic Jews settled in places like Amsterdam, where they contributed to the flourishing of trade, finance, and intellectual life. In Eastern Europe, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth emerged as a significant center of Jewish life. By the 16th century, Poland had one of the largest Jewish populations in the world, and Jewish communities enjoyed a degree of autonomy under the protection of the nobility. The establishment of the Council of Four Lands, a central Jewish governing body, facilitated the administration of Jewish communal affairs, including taxation, legal matters, and education. This period saw the flourishing of Jewish learning, with yeshivas, Jewish educational institutions, attracting students from across Europe. The Enlightenment and intellectual movement of the 17th and 18th centuries emphasized reason, individual rights, and secularism. Enlightenment thinkers like Moses Mendelssohn advocated for the integration of Jews into European society, arguing for civil rights and religious tolerance. The Haskalah, or Jewish Enlightenment, emerged as a parallel movement, promoting education, modernization, and cultural integration within the Jewish community. Masculine advocates of the Haskalah sought to reform Jewish education, emphasizing secular subjects alongside traditional religious studies, and encouraged Jews to participate in broader European cultural and intellectual life. The Enlightenment ideals of liberty and equality led to the gradual emancipation of Jews in various European countries. The French Revolution of 1789 was a pivotal moment, with the National Assembly granting full citizenship to Jews in 1791. The principles of the revolution inspired similar movements for Jewish rights across Europe. The path to emancipation was uneven and often met with resistance. In many regions, Jews continued to face legal and social barriers, anti-Semitism, and economic restrictions. However, the push for emancipation laid the groundwork for significant changes in Jewish life and society in the 19th and 20th centuries. The early modern period brought significant changes to Jewish identity and communal life. The encounters with Renaissance humanism, the challenges of the Reformation, and the opportunities of the Enlightenment prompted Jewish communities to adapt and evolve. Jewish intellectuals engaged with the broader cultural and philosophical currents of the time, contributing to a dynamic exchange of ideas. The dispersal of Sephardic Jews and the growth of Jewish communities in Eastern Europe enriched Jewish cultural and religious life, creating a diverse and multifaceted Jewish experience. The early modern period was a time of profound transformation for Jewish communities, marked by cultural engagement, intellectual achievement, and the struggle for rights and integration. The Renaissance, Reformation, and Enlightenment each played a role in shaping the modern Jewish experience and identity. In the next chapter, we will delve into the 19th century, examining the challenges and opportunities brought by industrialization, nationalism, and the changing political landscape. This era of significant social and economic change set the stage for the modern Jewish experience, with its complexities and contradictions. Chapter 11: The 19th Century, Modernization and Nationalism. The 19th century was a period of rapid change and transformation for Jewish communities around the world. This chapter explores the impact of industrialization, the rise of nationalism, and the shifting political landscape on Jewish life. The era brought new challenges and opportunities, shaping the modern Jewish experience in profound ways. The advent of industrialization in the 19th century brought significant social and economic changes. Rapid urbanization, the growth of factories, and advancements in technology reshaped societies, including Jewish communities. Jews, who had been restricted to specific professions and neighborhoods, found new opportunities in the expanding urban centers. Many Jews moved to cities, where they became involved in commerce, finance, and industry. Jewish entrepreneurs played key roles in developing new industries and businesses, contributing to the economic growth of their host countries. This period also saw the rise of a Jewish middle class, with increased access to education and professional opportunities. The movement for Jewish emancipation gained momentum in the 19th century, influenced by Enlightenment ideals and the political upheavals of the era. Emancipation aimed to grant Jews equal rights and integrate them fully into European society. While progress varied by country, significant strides were made in many regions. In France, the Napoleonic Code granted Jews equal rights, setting a precedent for other European nations. In Germany, the process was more gradual, with various states granting rights at different times. By the mid-19th century, Jews in many parts of Western Europe had gained civil rights, access to education, and the ability to enter professions previously closed to them. Despite the progress of emancipation, the 19th century also saw the rise of modern anti-Semitism. Economic competition, social tensions, and political changes contributed to a resurgence of hostility towards Jews. Unlike earlier religiously motivated anti-Judaism, modern anti-Semitism often had racial and nationalistic overtones. Prominent figures, such as Wilhelm Marr in Germany, popularized the term anti-Semitism and promoted the idea of Jews as an alien and threatening race. Anti-Semitic publications, political movements, and violent pogroms targeted Jewish communities, particularly in Eastern Europe. These developments highlighted the persistent challenges faced by Jews despite their integration into broader society. The 19th century witnessed the emergence of various Jewish cultural and political movements, reflecting the diversity and dynamism of Jewish life. The Haskalah, or Jewish Enlightenment, continued to promote education, secularism, and integration. Leading figures like Moses Mendelssohn and his followers sought to modernize Jewish life while preserving religious traditions. The period also saw the rise of Jewish nationalism, particularly the Zionist movement. Theodor Herzl, often considered the father of modern Zionism, advocated for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in response to the persistent anti-Semitism and lack of full acceptance in European societies. Herzl's vision galvanized many Jews, leading to the First Zionist Congress in 1897 and the subsequent development of Zionist institutions and settlements in Palestine. The 19th century also marked significant developments for Jewish communities in the United States. Jewish immigration to America increased dramatically, particularly after 1880, when many Jews fled persecution and economic hardship in Eastern Europe. The diverse Jewish population in the U.S. contributed to a vibrant and multifaceted Jewish life. In America, Jews found opportunities for economic advancement and religious freedom. Jewish communities established synagogues, schools, and cultural organizations, contributing to the broader American society while maintaining their distinct identity. Prominent American Jewish figures, such as Emma Lazarus and Louis Brandeis, played important roles in advocating for social justice and civil rights. The 19th century was a period of significant intellectual and cultural achievements for Jews. Jewish writers, scientists, and artists made notable contributions to European and American culture. Figures like Heinrich Heine, a German Jewish poet, and composer Felix Mendelssohn left lasting legacies in literature and music. In the realm of science and philosophy, Jewish intellectuals such as Karl Marx and Sigmund Freud profoundly influenced modern thought. Marx's theories on economics and society and Freud's development of psychoanalysis were groundbreaking, shaping fields far beyond their initial Jewish context. The rapid changes of the 19th century posed challenges for Jewish communities as they navigated the tensions between tradition and modernity. The process of secularization, urbanization, and the integration into broader society led to debates within the Jewish community about identity, religious observance, and cultural assimilation. Reform Judaism emerged as a response to these challenges, advocating for a modernized and accessible approach to Jewish practice. Reform leaders, such as Abraham Geiger, sought to harmonize Jewish tradition with contemporary values, emphasizing ethics and social justice over ritual observance. This movement sparked significant debates and eventually led to the development of conservative Judaism, which sought a middle path between tradition and reform. The 19th century was a time of profound transformation for Jewish communities, characterized by modernization, political change, and the ongoing struggle for rights and acceptance. The challenges and opportunities of this era shaped the modern Jewish experience, laying the groundwork for the developments of the 20th century. In the next chapter, we will explore the tumultuous 20th century, focusing on the impacts of the World Wars, the Holocaust, the establishment of the State of Israel, and the diverse experiences of Jews around the world. This century of unprecedented challenges and achievements profoundly influenced Jewish history and identity, shaping the contemporary Jewish world. Chapter 12. The 20th Century, Catastrophe and Renewal. The 20th century was marked by unparalleled upheaval and transformation for Jewish communities around the globe. This chapter examines the profound impacts of the World Wars, the Holocaust, the establishment of the State of Israel, and the diverse experiences of Jews in the diaspora. This century, defined by both catastrophe and renewal, profoundly shaped Jewish history and identity. World War I 1914 to 1918 brought significant changes to the geopolitical landscape, affecting Jewish communities worldwide. The collapse of empires and the redrawing of national borders disrupted established Jewish communities, particularly in Eastern Europe. The war also sparked the Balfour Declaration of 1917, in which the British government expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration energized the Zionist movement, leading to increased Jewish immigration to Palestine and the establishment of key institutions. The rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany in the 1930s marked the beginning of one of the darkest periods in Jewish history. Nazi ideology, rooted in virulent anti-Semitism, sought to eliminate Jews from German society and ultimately from Europe. The Holocaust show resulted in the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, along with millions of other victims, in concentration camps, ghettos, and mass executions. The genocide decimated Jewish communities across Europe, leaving a legacy of trauma and loss that continues to shape Jewish identity and memory. In the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust, the movement for a Jewish homeland gained unprecedented urgency and international support. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel, fulfilling a central aspiration of the Zionist movement. The creation of Israel was met with immediate challenges, including the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, as neighboring Arab states opposed the new state's existence. Despite these challenges, Israel rapidly developed into a modern state with a vibrant society and economy, becoming a focal point of Jewish life and identity. In the post-war period, Jewish communities in Europe faced the daunting task of rebuilding from the devastation of the Holocaust. Survivors who returned to their former homes often found their communities destroyed and their properties confiscated. Many chose to emigrate, particularly to Israel, the United States, and other countries. In the Americas, Jewish communities experienced significant growth and integration. In the United States, the post-war period saw the rise of a prosperous and influential Jewish community, contributing to various fields, including politics, culture, and academia. Latin American Jewish communities also grew, with notable populations in Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. The Jewish experience in the Soviet Union was marked by severe repression and anti-Semitism under Stalinist policies. Despite the official state atheism, Jews faced discrimination, suppression of religious practices, and cultural persecution. The Doctor's Plot and other anti-Semitic campaigns highlighted the precariousness of Jewish life under Soviet rule. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 brought significant changes, leading to a massive emigration of Jews to Israel, the United States, and other countries. The newly independent states of the former Soviet Union also saw a revival of Jewish life and culture. Though challenges remained, in the United States, the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s saw significant Jewish involvement. Many Jews, drawing from their own history of persecution and commitment to social justice, actively participated in the struggle for African American civil rights. Figures like Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and numerous Jewish activists worked alongside leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. to advocate for equality and justice. The 20th century also saw a growing recognition of the diversity within the global Jewish community. Jews from North Africa, the Middle East, India, Ethiopia, and other regions brought unique traditions and cultures, enriching the broader Jewish tapestry. The airlifts of Ethiopian Jews to Israel in the 1980s and 1990s highlighted the global nature of Jewish identity and the ongoing efforts to support endangered Jewish communities. The 20th century was a time of profound challenges and transformations for the Jewish people. The horrors of the Holocaust, the triumph of the establishment of Israel, and the diverse experiences of Jews in the diaspora all contributed to shaping the modern Jewish world. The resilience and adaptability demonstrated by Jewish communities in the face of unprecedented adversity underscored the enduring strength of Jewish identity and tradition. In the final chapter, we will explore the contemporary Jewish world, examining the ongoing challenges and opportunities facing Jewish communities in the 21st century. This era of rapid change and global interconnectedness presents new dynamics for the continuing story of the Jewish people. Chapter 13. The Contemporary Jewish World, Challenges and Opportunities. The 21st century presents new challenges and opportunities for Jewish communities around the globe. This chapter explores the contemporary Jewish experience, focusing on the dynamics of globalization, technological advancements, interfaith relations, and the ongoing struggles and achievements within Jewish life. The forces of globalization have profoundly impacted Jewish communities, creating new avenues for connection and collaboration. The Internet and social media enable Jews from diverse backgrounds to connect, share ideas, and foster a sense of global Jewish identity. Online platforms have facilitated the study of Jewish texts, the preservation of traditions, and the creation of virtual communities. However, globalization also brings challenges, including the dilution of cultural distinctiveness and the pressures of assimilation. Maintaining a balance between preserving unique Jewish traditions and embracing a globalized world remains a central concern for contemporary Jewish communities. Technological advancements have transformed many aspects of Jewish life, from religious practice to education. Innovations such as digital Torah study tools, virtual synagogues, and online learning platforms have made Jewish education more accessible than ever. Technology has also enhanced the ways Jews observe religious practices, with apps and devices assisting with everything from kosher dietary laws to prayer times. At the same time, the rapid pace of technological change raises questions about the preservation of traditional practices and the potential for alienation from communal life. Ensuring that technology serves to enhance, rather than undermine, Jewish continuity is a key focus for modern Jewish leaders. The 21st century has seen significant strides in interfaith relations, with many Jewish communities actively engaging in dialogue with other religious groups. Efforts to promote mutual understanding, combat prejudice, and work towards common social goals have fostered positive relationships between Jews and people of other faiths. Initiatives such as the Jewish-Muslim Dialogue and various interfaith councils have created platforms for collaboration on issues such as social justice, environmental sustainability, and peace building. These efforts reflect a growing recognition of the importance of interfaith solidarity in addressing global challenges. Despite the progress in many areas, anti-Semitism remains a persistent and troubling issue in the 21st century. Incidents of anti-Semitic violence, hate speech, and discrimination have been reported in various parts of the world, often fueled by political extremism and social media. Jewish communities and organizations continue to combat anti-Semitism through education, advocacy, and coalition building. Efforts to promote Holocaust remembrance, support anti-hate legislation, and foster alliances with other marginalized groups are crucial in the fight against contemporary anti-Semitism. The contemporary Jewish world is marked by its remarkable diversity. Jewish communities encompass a wide range of cultural, religious, and ideological perspectives, from secular Jews to ultra-Orthodox communities, and from Ashkenazi to Sephardic and Mizrahi traditions. This diversity enriches Jewish life, providing a multitude of ways to engage with Jewish identity and tradition. However, it also presents challenges in terms of fostering unity and mutual respect within the broader Jewish community. Efforts to bridge divides and promote inclusivity are vital for maintaining a vibrant and cohesive Jewish people. The relationship between Israel and the Jewish diaspora continues to be a central aspect of contemporary Jewish life. Israel remains a focal point for Jewish identity and solidarity, with its political, social, and cultural developments closely followed by Jews worldwide. At the same time, the diverse views within the Jewish community regarding Israeli policies, particularly concerning the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, can lead to tension and debate. Navigating these complex dynamics requires ongoing dialogue and a commitment to mutual respect and understanding. Jewish individuals and communities continue to make significant contributions to global society in fields such as science, technology, the arts, politics, and social justice. Jewish values of education, philanthropy, and tikkun olam, repairing the world, drive many of these contributions, reflecting a long-standing commitment to improving the broader world. Prominent Jewish figures in various domains inspire new generations to pursue excellence and contribute to the common good, reinforcing the positive impact of Jewish life and values on global society. The contemporary Jewish world is dynamic and multifaceted, facing both enduring challenges and exciting opportunities. The resilience, adaptability, and creativity of Jewish communities continue to shape their responses to the complexities of the 21st century. In the final chapter, we will reflect on the journey of the Jewish people from ancient times to the present, highlighting the enduring themes of survival, renewal, and the quest for meaning and justice. This reflection underscores the timeless significance of the Jewish experience and its contributions to human civilization. Chapter 14. Reflections on the Jewish Journey. The story of the Jewish people is a testament to resilience, perseverance, and the enduring quest for meaning and justice. This final chapter reflects on the journey from ancient times to the contemporary world, highlighting the central themes that have shaped Jewish history and identity. The history of the Jewish people, marked by periods of persecution, exile, and adversity. Despite these challenges, Jewish communities have demonstrated remarkable resilience, finding ways to survive and thrive in diverse environments. This resilience is rooted in a deep sense of identity, community, and faith, which has enabled Jews to endure and overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Jewish history is also a story of renewal and adaptation. Throughout the centuries, Jews have continually reinterpreted and revitalized their traditions, responding to changing circumstances with creativity and innovation. From the development of Rabbinic Judaism after the destruction of the Second Temple to the modern movements of Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox Judaism, this adaptability has ensured the continuity and vitality of Jewish life. A central theme of Jewish history is the quest for justice and meaning. Jewish teachings emphasize the importance of ethical conduct, social justice, and the pursuit of knowledge. These values have driven Jewish contributions to social, cultural, and intellectual life, inspiring efforts to improve the world and seek deeper understanding. The principle of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, reflects this commitment to justice and compassion, guiding Jewish involvement in social causes and humanitarian efforts. Jewish thinkers and activists have played prominent roles in movements for civil rights, human rights, and peace, embodying the ethical imperatives of their tradition. The contributions of Jewish individuals and communities to human civilization are profound and wide-ranging. In fields such as philosophy, science, literature, music, and politics, Jews have made enduring impacts that continue to shape our world. Figures like Albert Einstein, Franz Kafka, Leonard Bernstein, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg exemplify the diverse and influential legacy of Jewish achievement. This legacy is a source of pride and inspiration for contemporary Jewish communities, highlighting the ways in which Jewish values and experiences have enriched global society. As the Jewish people move forward into the 21st century, they face new challenges and opportunities. The ongoing efforts to combat anti-Semitism, promote interfaith dialogue, and engage with global issues reflect the enduring relevance of Jewish values and traditions. The future of the Jewish people will be shaped by their ability to navigate these challenges with the same resilience, adaptability, and commitment to justice that has characterized their history. By drawing on their rich heritage and embracing the possibilities of the contemporary world, Jewish communities can continue to thrive and contribute to the broader human story. The journey of the Jewish people is a remarkable narrative of survival, renewal, and the pursuit of meaning. From ancient times to the present day, Jews have faced immense challenges and made significant contributions to human civilization. This story is a testament to the enduring strength of Jewish identity and the profound impact of Jewish values on the world. As we reflect on this journey, we recognize the timeless significance of the Jewish experience and its lessons for all of humanity. The themes of resilience, adaptation, justice, and the quest for knowledge and meaning resonate beyond the Jewish community, offering insights and inspiration for people of all backgrounds. In celebrating the rich tapestry of Jewish history and culture, we honor the enduring legacy of the Jewish people and their contributions to the shared human story. Chapter 15. Looking forward. The Jewish experience in the 21st century and beyond. The 21st century presents a complex and evolving landscape for Jewish communities around the world. As we look forward, the resilience, adaptability, and creativity of Jews continue to shape their responses to contemporary challenges and opportunities. This final chapter explores the key issues, trends, and aspirations that will influence the Jewish experience in the coming decades. Technology continues to revolutionize every aspect of life, and Jewish communities are no exception. The digital age offers unprecedented opportunities for education, community building, and religious practice. Virtual synagogues, online Torah study sessions, and digital archives of Jewish texts have made Jewish education and spiritual engagement more accessible than ever. However, the integration of technology into Jewish life also poses challenges. Ensuring that technological advancements enhance rather than dilute Jewish traditions is crucial. Community leaders are exploring ways to balance technological innovation with the preservation of meaningful, face-to-face interactions and traditional practices. Education has always been a cornerstone of Jewish life, and it remains critical in shaping future generations. Jewish day schools, yeshivas, and supplementary education programs are continually evolving to meet the needs of contemporary Jewish families. Innovations in pedagogy, coupled with a focus on critical thinking and engagement with both Jewish and secular knowledge, are central to this evolution. Jewish educators are also addressing the diverse needs of their communities, including those of interfaith families, Jews of color, and LGBTQ Jews. Inclusive and adaptive educational approaches ensure that all members of the Jewish community feel valued and connected to their heritage. In an increasingly interconnected world, interfaith and intercultural relationships are becoming more common. Jewish communities are actively engaging in dialogue and collaboration with people of other faiths and backgrounds, fostering mutual understanding and respect. Interfaith initiatives focus on shared values such as social justice, peace-building, and environmental sustainability. These relationships also bring challenges, particularly regarding issues of identity and belonging. Jewish communities are working to support individuals in interfaith marriages and their children, ensuring they feel welcome and integrated into Jewish life. Anti-Semitism remains a persistent threat, manifesting in both subtle and overt ways. Jewish communities worldwide are vigilant in their efforts to combat hate through education, advocacy, and coalition building. Organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League (ADL) and numerous grassroots initiatives play vital roles in these efforts, promoting Holocaust education, supporting legislation against hate crimes, and fostering alliances with other marginalized groups are crucial strategies in the fight against anti-Semitism. By addressing the root causes of hate and promoting inclusivity, Jewish communities strive to create a safer and more just society for all. The Jewish world is characterized by its rich diversity, encompassing a wide range of cultural, religious, and ideological perspectives. Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahi, and other Jewish traditions contribute to a vibrant and multifaceted global Jewish community. Embracing this diversity, while fostering a sense of unity, is a key challenge and opportunity. Efforts to bridge divides within the Jewish community, such as dialogue between different religious movements and initiatives to support Jews from diverse backgrounds, are essential. Celebrating the unique contributions of each group, while finding common ground strengthens the collective Jewish identity. Israel continues to play a central role in Jewish identity and global Jewish life. The connection to Israel is a source of pride and solidarity for many Jews, symbolizing the realization of a historic dream and the resilience of the Jewish people. However, the complexities of Israeli politics, particularly regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, evoke diverse opinions within the Jewish community. Navigating these complexities requires open dialogue and a commitment to understanding multiple perspectives. Supporting a vision of Israel that embodies Jewish values of justice, peace, and democracy is a shared aspiration for many Jews worldwide. The Jewish commitment to social justice, encapsulated in the concept of tikkun olam, repairing the world, remains a driving force in contemporary Jewish life. Jewish communities are actively involved in addressing global challenges such as poverty, inequality, and climate change. This commitment is reflected in the work of numerous Jewish organizations and individual activists dedicated to creating a more just and equitable world. Engaging with social justice issues also reinforces the relevance of Jewish values in contemporary society, inspiring younger generations to connect with their heritage through meaningful action. Ensuring the continuity of Jewish life involves addressing demographic challenges, such as declining birth rates and assimilation, particularly in the diaspora. Innovative approaches to community building, outreach, and engagement are essential to sustaining vibrant Jewish communities. Programs that focus on youth engagement, leadership development, and intergenerational connections are particularly effective. The Jewish community's adaptability, creativity, and commitment to its values are key strengths in facing these challenges. By embracing change while honoring tradition, Jews can continue to thrive and contribute to the broader human story. The future of the Jewish people is shaped by a rich heritage, a strong sense of identity, and a commitment to justice and compassion. The challenges of the 21st century are significant, but so are the opportunities. Jewish communities worldwide are poised to navigate these complexities with resilience, creativity, and a deep sense of purpose. As we look forward, the enduring themes of survival, renewal, and the quest for meaning continue to guide the Jewish journey. The story of the Jewish people is one of hope, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. This legacy, passed down through generations, will undoubtedly continue to inspire and shape the future. In celebrating the Jewish experience, we honor not only the past, but also the enduring contributions of Jewish values, culture, and wisdom to the collective human story. The Jewish people, with their rich history and vibrant present, remain a testament to the power of faith, community, and the enduring quest for justice and understanding. Thanks for watching.